Egypt.
This is like the greatest hits of Ramses' victories. Narrator. Alia races to save one of Egypt's greatest treasures. Alia. If it tips over, it would definitely damage the surface of the tomb. Narrator. And Fathi excavates deep into the earth to uncover the mysteries of an ancient necropolis. Narrator. In over 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian history, no pharaoh comes close to rivaling Ramses the Great. During his 66 years on the throne, Ramses raised the Egyptian empire to the zenith of its wealth, culture, and power. This is like the greatest hits of Ramses' victories. Narrator. Alia races to save one of Egypt's greatest treasures. Alia. If it tips over, it would definitely damage the surface of the tomb. Narrator. And Fathi excavates deep into the earth to uncover the mysteries of an ancient necropolis. Narrator. In over 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian history, no pharaoh comes close to rivaling Ramses the Great. During his 66 years on the throne, Ramses raised the Egyptian empire to the zenith of its wealth, culture, and power. He created a vast legacy, and was so revered that 9 further pharaohs would take his name. He would build more statues, monuments, and temples than any other pharaoh, forever changing the face of Egypt. Now, archaeologists across the country are searching for the secrets of his success. In the ancient city of Abydos, Dr. Samias Konder leads a team on a mission to excavate what some archaeologists believe is the first temple built during Ramses' reign. Drs. Konder. Egypt after Ramses is a completely different country. This is his beginning. There's something personal about this. And that's what really got me interested in this temple. Narrator. He hopes clues found in Ramses' early reign can unlock the mystery of what fueled his future success. But first, Sammy must settle an age-old debate over whether this is truly the first monument built by Ramses. Drs. Konder. Well, what we're looking here is any clues as to when this temple was built. Narrator. The team digs for foundation deposits deep beneath the temple walls. This is his beginning. There's something personal about this. And that's what really got me interested in this temple. Narrator. He hopes clues found in Ramses' early reign can unlock the mystery of what fueled his future success. But first, Sammy must settle an age-old debate over whether this is truly the first monument built by Ramses. Drs. Konder. Well, what we're looking here is any clues as to when this temple was built. Narrator. The team digs for foundation deposits deep beneath the temple walls. Offerings buried at the start of construction, which they hope will provide vital information about the temple's origins. Instead of foundation deposits, worker unearthed something incredible. Drs. Konder. Cartouches. Extremely unusual cartouches. Unprecedented in any Egyptian temple. Narrator. These oval markings were used to stamp the names of pharaohs onto their monuments. The hidden cartouches spell out 2 names. Drs. Konder. The one on the left is Ramses Merimoneus. That's the name given to him when he was born. And the other one is a throne name that the one given to him when he became the pharaoh, Ramses II. Narrator. Ramses' throne name would not have been inscribed on foundations unless he began its construction. Drs. Konder. This temple was built during the reign of Ramses II, period. No more argument about that. Narrator. Ramses would go on to build more monuments than any other pharaoh, but the cartouche proves this temple is where it all began. Drs. Konder. This is his beginning, and was starting to build a legacy. Narrator. Ramses began his prolific campaign of monument building with this temple. At its entrance, an imposing granite doorway led to a courtyard surrounded by figures of Osiris, the god of this temple. In each corner of the temple, buried in the foundations, golden cartouches spelling his name, Ramses II, the chosen of Ra. On the southwestern wall of the temple, Sammy investigates a recently sealed doorway, which appears to lead away from a building. Drs. Konder. This door was left open for almost 3,000 years. Egypt, the richest source of archaeological treasures on the planet. Man, oh, whoa, look at that. Narrator. Hidden beneath this desert landscape lie the secrets of this ancient civilization. Alejandro. Ooh, I've never seen something like this. Narrator. Now, for a full season of excavations, our cameras have been given unprecedented access to follow teams on the front line of archaeology. Miriam, This is the most critical moment. Narrator, revealing buried secrets. Salima, oh, Ahmed, we are lucky today. Wow, lots of mummies. Kathleen, the smell is horrible. Narrator, and making discoveries that could rewrite ancient history. Prof, John, we've never had the proof until now. Dr. Colleen, this is where it all started. Alejandro, my goodness, I never expected this. Narrator, this time, archaeologists unlocked the secrets of one of Egypt's most legendary pharaohs, Ramses the Great. Dr. Iskander, this must have been used by probably Ramses himself. Narrator, John and Colleen search the desert for clues to Ramses' success.
That is how 2 pyramids can go. Missing, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Somewhere beyond the lake they're standing so still, my lovers. I'm really trying with this parody song. My statues sit on golden sands and watches the ships that go sailing. Okay, that's into that. The bases survive. They were once the thrones. 2 colossal statues made from quartzite stone. From fragments we can reconstruct that they likely depict 2 great pharaohs seated side by side. Archaeologists have argued that they were likely raised under the reign of Amenemhat III, a great conquering pharaoh from Egypt's 12th dynasty, and most likely the pharaoh depicted in the sculptures. Their descriptions adheres very closely to Herodotus's account of the twin pyramids, save one thing: their size. Scholars have theorized that each of the colossi, including the pedestal, originally stood somewhere between 59 to 60 feet tall, making them some of the tallest sculptures constructed in Egypt since the Giza Sphinx. Herodotus's pyramids, on the other hand, were reportedly closer to 600 feet tall, though he never saw their lower halves because they were submerged in the water. Hello, how are you? I am under the water. From their description to their location, everything matches except the height, I think. What is most likely happening here is another one of Tricky Herod's over-exaggerations. Just like the Giza pyramid, either Herodotus was bad at eyeballing things or his guides were messing with him, as he ended up with a height that was 10 times the actual. In their commentary on Herodotus, the modern scholars Hall and Wells proposed a theory on how the Greek could have been so wrong. You see, Herodotus had only seen the statues from Arson away across the lake and had accepted the greatly exaggerated figures of his guides. That's right, it is very likely that our boy was lazy. He saw the blurry haze of 2 statues from far away, and his guide or guides used it as a chance to mess with him. Herodotus never got a chance to fact-check them, so he went home and wrote it down in his book, none the wiser, unintentionally creating a mystery that lasted over 2,000 years. Now tell him those are 2 giant pyramids. Yes, it is likely that's stupid. Don't get me wrong, the Behamu Colossi were impressive. If you saw the site in its heyday, you would have marveled at its size and scale, the intricacy of its carvings. Herodotus unfairly got our expectations too high. These drawings are fanciful fan art based on nothing more than Herodotus's twisted account. Now that we know what happened to the pyramids, what happened to the statues, well, we know that they remained relatively intact as late as the 1240s. A.D. less than 700 years ago, an Islamic scholar wrote that he had once saw them, but he later reported that they had been destroyed by locals who believed that treasure was hidden inside the 2 statues, I guess like a Tootsie Pop, and so the colossi were smashed into 100 smaller fragments, yielding nothing but their dignity. According to one account, when European archaeologists in the 1800s stopped by, they found the pile that had once been the statues. In 1888, British archaeologist Flanders Petrie collected a good portion of the fragments and brought them back to England. The Ashmolean Museum in Oxford still hold inordinate number of wonders and possessing more monuments surpassing description than any in the world. His colorful account describes many places and monuments that still stand today and remain just as impressive to modern sightseers as they did to ones over 2,000 years ago. At one point Herodotus traveled down the Nile River to Lake Moeris. Lake Moeris was a giant freshwater lake fed by the Nile. Clinging to its shores was a city that Tarantus called Crocodilopolis, or the city of crocodiles, named after the curious scaly creatures that swam in the waters and were worshipped as sacred by the local inhabitants. Near the city was the labyrinth, a wonder beyond description, as Herodotus puts it, and I speak as someone who has seen it with his own eyes. Even the pyramids come second to the labyrinth. It was a sprawling maze of thousands of courtyards, walls and rooms both above and below the ground, sounding like something more out of fantasy than history. But even the lake itself was a wonder. Herodotus claims that it was entirely man-made, dug into the earth by the hands of countless Egyptian laborers under the direct orders of a long-dead pharaoh. Now his evidence for this was intriguing as it was, well, yet another wonder. Clear evidence that Lake Moeris was excavated by human hand is furnished by the lake itself, for almost in its dead center there are 2 pyramids, both of which project above the surface of the water to a height of 50 fathoms and extend below it in an Identical distance. Both are also surmounted by a seated figure on a throne. Colossal inside is and made of stone and all. Then the pyramids measure a total of 100 fathoms, or since 1 fathom equals 6 feet, a spade of 600 feet. These are the twin pyramids of Lake Moeris, each standing 600 feet high, over 150 feet taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza, and unlike the Giza pyramids, which were crowned with a simple geometric capstone, these pyramids were crowned with the colossal statues of pharaohs or gods, which glared down at passing fishermen drifting on the lake, such as it must have taken the breaths away from countless ancient visitors just like Herodotus. But at this point you as the viewer are likely asking some questions. Why haven't I heard of these pyramids before? If they existed, why aren't they as famous as their smaller cousins, and how come there are no pictures of them beyond a couple old drawings? Well, this is because they are missing, plain and simple. Historians and archaeologists for centuries have looked in vain for these twin pyramids. This isn't out of the ordinary for Herodotus. A lot of time has passed since he wrote his book. The ceaseless footsteps of time have marched on many wonders he described, seen as an eyewitness, have long since disappeared or faded. Of the chamber hollowed out from a single gargantuan block of stone that took 3 years and 2,000 men to halt to say us, all that remains today is a huge shapeless mound of rubble, the fantastical labyrinth so highly praised.